Hi everyone, talking to you live, and I'm back from Ireland. That was a whirlwind trip of about 2.5 weeks, and every day was solidly sightseeing somewhere. I was moving around the country, and it was incredible just to see the vast amounts of culture and history and just the people. I mean, they were just so friendly, and the food was incredible. I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And I think one of the highlights for me on that trip was connecting with my ancestors and genealogy. With the research that was conducted in the last 2 days, we pinpointed the graveyard and the church where my ancestors had been buried. So that was just an incredible highlight for me on that trip to Ireland. And if any of you are interested in seeing any of it, I've actually journaled that whole process in the YouTube channel Trish and Chris, all one word, so you can go and check that out. So day by day, I've actually tapped in and done a little tour of those places that I visited, and just amazing. And what it does give you is a possible route for you to take if you ever plan to do Ireland. It was a great route to be taking from Dublin, heading down to the south coast, all the way up the west side of Ireland, up to the north, and then back through to Dublin to fly out with my air tickets. So it was phenomenal. So the downside was yesterday I was knocked on my feet. I don't know whether it was fatigue or just headaches or jet lag, but just feeling completely fatigued and lethargic. And so spent most of the day on the lounge resting. And there's a little bit of guilt there sometimes when you feel that you should be working on your business and you're laid up on the lounge not feeling like doing anything. And I just shared a video this morning in the 90-day journey to say sometimes you just have to give yourself permission to rest and give yourself permission to listen to your body and know when it's time to just chill out. And that's what I did yesterday. And honestly, today I feel 100% better. I just feel amazing compared to what I felt like yesterday. So that's just a little tip for you guys that are building a business or working an online business, and you are so dedicated and committed and conscientious that you really want to get something up and running. Sometimes you neglect yourself as well, and it's your body. Your body tells you when enough's enough, and when you are not in that space to create a video. When you're in that space to not get online and do some work because your mindset's just not there, and you're just not going to create anything of any value. So it's really worth saying to yourself, enough, chill, I'm going to take some time out. And that's what happened yesterday, because I'm only 2 days back in the country. So it's understandable to feel that way, a bit jet lagged and fatigued. So, and then there were some delays at my airport as well with Delta. So Delta were a bit of a champion airline for me while I was traveling to and from. I got 2 cancellations, which is amazing in one trip. So I think that knocked me about a little bit as well. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about really was having the freedom and the flexibility to be able to travel. And it doesn't always just take money to be able to do that. This trip to Ireland was a very spontaneous decision. My original trip was booked for June and July. I was coming here to America to oversee the project, the rehab, and I was going nowhere else. And I decided, because I actually watched a program and I saw the scenery and the incredible natural landscape of Ireland, and I fell in love with it. And I thought, you know what, I would love to go and visit Ireland. And I knew that some of our ancestry was there as well, so that sort of added a little bonus to it as well. And so I made a spontaneous decision to book a trip to Ireland for the first 2 weeks in August. So keeping in mind my original trip, so when I came through immigration, I told them that I was going to be here and had a return ticket for the end of July. So that's what was recorded with immigration. However, I'd made this spontaneous decision, which pushes my trip another 2 weeks. And then I thought to myself, well, while I'm here, I may as well go to Phoenix and go to the gold convention for SFM, and also go to Momentum Day at the same time. So I'm not going back to Australia and then having to fly back for that event. So I pushed my trip out to the 12th of September because the Gold Convention and Momentum Day is, I think, from the 8th of September. So anyway, it pushed my trip back to Australia to the 12th of September. So that pushes the whole trip out 3 months, 2 weeks. Now, under the provisions of immigration, when it comes to traveling to America from Australia, we are part of a partnership agreement whereby it's called ESTA, E-S-T-A, it's spelled, and it's called a visa waiver program where you can, as an Australian, visit this country, America, for anywhere up to 3 months without any hassles or issues or paperwork having to be completed or visas having to be done. So you've got 3 months of freedom to be able to travel to America, for example. And I overstayed that because it's 3 months, 2 weeks. And so how can I do that? The reason I can do that is because I have what's called a B1, B2 visa. So it's B1/B2 visa. And you can Google it. There's heaps of research, heaps of information on it on the internet. And all you have to do is prove that you are running and operating a business here in America. And I applied for this 3 years ago because a lot of you already know that I invest here in America in real estate. And I've also had other people come through investing in the program as well, through my coaching program. And they've invested in US real estate as well. So, you know, to do that, I've had to have entity structures here in America, you know, what's called LLCs or C corporations. And so what I've had to do is put a bit of a portfolio together and submit that to the US consulate and prove that I am running and operating an international business or a business here in the US. So what it involves is pretty much, it's not a difficult process, in all honesty. I thought it would be a lot more complex, but it wasn't. It's a matter of an application form, which you will be able to Google search and find online. You pay a fee. The fee wasn't that expensive. I don't know, it's 3 years ago now. I think it was about $150 to have the application processed. Might not even been as much as that, but it was sort of roughly around those figures. You pay the fee, you then submit certain amounts of information on that application form, and they must do their research from their end, and then you go in for a day into the US consulate. And I went into Sydney, so I was based in Australia at the time, went into Sydney, and they interviewed me. And in all honesty, I took massive folders of information, and the interview was pretty quick, short and sweet. And I think they pretty much had done their research and had the information at their fingertips anyway. And they took my passport from me, and I went home, and they processed and put the visa into the passport, stuck it in, and then they FedExed it out to me. It was within days. I got my passport back. So what that allows me to do now is to stay in America for anywhere up to 6 months relatively easily. And I've done that. I've stayed, not last year, the year before, I was here for 5 months. And there was, you know, you get some questions as you enter the country, and it depends on who you get through immigration. Some of them can be really tough and really quite ruthless, because I think they're either trying to catch you out for some reason, whether it's, you know, because you're not really supposed to earn money here in this country as a wage earner when you're here under a B1, B2 visa. Obviously, you can generate money within your business or your corporations, but you're not to be earning wages. And I think they just want to make sure you're going home, basically. But they do go through quite a few questions. Some of them good, some of them are tough, some of them are fine. So it just depends. But they explore your visa as well as your passport when you're going back through or when you're entering America each time. So it takes you out of the ESTA program. It takes you out of that visa waiver program, and it puts you into a whole different class of visa entry into the country, and so therefore when you're coming back into America, you tend to go into different lines or different queues as you're coming back through, and you get asked, are you under ESTA or are you under a visa program? Once you're in a visa, you get sort of sent off into another direction. And then especially Ireland, because Ireland, you had a security clearance through Ireland, but then you had to go to US pre-clearance within the Dublin airport. And what you do is, because you're re-entering the US, they're doing it there rather than at the other end. So I was sent through and questioned as I was leaving to know exactly my movements. I told them that I was back in America for another 3 weeks. I'll be going to Phoenix for a week, and I had a return ticket. I made a point of saying that as well. So relatively easy, relatively cool, and a great way of having the freedom and the flexibility to be able to, in my case, travel to and from America and spend time here as needed. Because as you know, building businesses, you know, it's sometimes spontaneous. Sometimes you have to stay here a bit longer, and therefore you need that flexibility to be able to do that, and not just under that visa waiver program, which only gives you 3 months. And like I said, I've gone 3 months and 2 weeks, and I needed that flexibility to be able to do that. So that's my share today. I don't think there was anything else that I needed to talk to you about. I think that's it. I think I covered everything. So very important to know and understand that when you have freedom and flexibility, it's not through just having the money or the cash to be able to do it. It's knowing that you have all of the right paperwork and all the right visas in place to be able to do that as well, especially when you start with your online business to travel the world. You will be going in and out of different countries. So you've got to make sure that you have all of that sorted, and you know what you're doing, and you know how long you can stay there for. Because the worst thing is you just don't want to be overstaying a visa or overstaying, you know, a program or the visa waiver program, because that would be diabolical, really. So you just got to make sure that you're doing all the right things. So that's my share live today from back in Ohio, which is awesome. And I will check in with you again. Actually, I've got to come to you tomorrow because I've got to do another Facebook Live tomorrow, and I'll have a new topic to talk to you about. But that's me, Trish and Chris, online.com, leisureLifestyle.com, and you can go to our YouTube channel, Trish and Chris, all one word, and press that subscribe button, and it'll give you some of these daily updates. Bye for now.